morning. Today I'm going to talk on adolescent self-counseling. You have heard about counseling a lot, maybe not heard about self-counseling. Let's see what is self-counseling. Self-counseling is the process of examining one's own behavior using psychoanalytical methods of free thinking and free association. Those who have learned Freud have heard about this: free thinking, free association. Self-counseling can help one take more effective control of everyday situations and enable to make continued progress. And that we call as personal growth. That's important. Now, this is important because wherever you're working, hospital, any industry, business, research organization, wherever you're working, somebody has done a beautiful study which shows that people will be belong to 3-4 groups. Okay, this is a normal curve. On the left side, you have 2.5% are innovators and 13.5% are early adopters. That means together, this 16% of persons are the ones who are actually making an organization run. On the other hand, you have another 16% who are called laggards or not able to do anything. They are always negative thinking people. Okay. If you are in the if you are in the administrative system, then you try to improve them, which anyway never happens. But the management group will believe that leave them alone and you get on with your work. And our focus should be on the 34% early majority and 34% late majority. Why? Because the early majority are motivated, self-motivated people. They will actually do well only if you give little, support. Whereas a late majority, 34%, would need a lot of external motivation. But together, these three things, 34 plus 34, 16, they will be forming 84%, and any organization will do well if 84% is doing well. Now let's look at how self-counseling works. Self-counseling takes you on a journey of self-discovery. You work at your own pace and in the directions you feel most comfortable with. Nobody is pushing you. You are at your own pace. You know what you are, who you are, why you are, and everything. So you can, steady the process by yourself. But remember, some problems may not be so deep-rooted or deep-seated that it may not be okay for self-counseling and may require some form of psychotherapy or counseling. And we should not say that I'm only doing self-counseling. No. What is it? Now let's look at what is the need for this. Actually, it is during the COVID time that we thought this idea became popular with me. Because 15 studies describing nearly 30,000 children and adolescents, Indian children, they were suffering from behavior, psychological, nearly 80%, depression, 42%, irritability, inattention, 42%, boredom, anxiety, etc., 35%. So that means there's a huge morbidity during the COVID time. And to get rid of that morbidity, we need to address the issue. And actually, you cannot have so many counselors. That's how we thought of self-counseling. Now, what is counseling? Now, this is the adolescent counseling book just published a week ago. This is the second edition. We had one before. Counseling is not advising. We should know that. Counseling do not solve all problems of life. Counseling actually is a learning process, enables personality development, aimed at helping people make choices and act on them. And the word choice is the most important word. If you do not have choice, you are upset, you have problem. So give choice to a problem where anybody must have choice. In the marital context, most of the time the daughter-in-law is unhappy because in the new house, she may not have the choice. Whereas in her mother's house, she had all the choice. So that probably was, at least in the rural setting. Now, what are the simple methods to initiate self-counseling? One is meditation. I'm talking about 4 methods. Meditation, where we use mantra, we use visualization, visual aids of similar items. We'll deal with all this one by one. Relaxation is using deep relaxation techniques and working with the breath. Or everything is breathing exercises. Free association is relating anything that comes to mind, regardless of import. Anything that, help you relax. That is called free association. Associate with anything, good, bad, ugly, don't think of that. Whatever gives you peace, do that. It could be extremes, from one end to other end, extreme thoughts can come, good and bad can come, doesn't matter. Autogenic training is relaxation technique that focus on daily practice using our own capabilities so that you can infuse a state of deep relaxation. It is we ourselves prepare to become relaxed. Okay, I'll come to detail. Meditation counseling. First one we talked about meditation. Meditation involves training the mind to focus and redirect thoughts, often through breath awareness or guided concentration. Your breathing is a huge process that happens in your whole life, but we do it without being aware of it. So all the yoga technique, all the mindful meditation technique, and anything you talk, it's all focused on being aware of your breath. Okay, one important among them, there are 4 or 5 types. Most important is mindful meditation. It means cultivating non-judgmental awareness of the present moment. We are mostly judgmental people. We judge ourselves unnecessarily. So that is not enough. We should be non-judgmental awareness of the present. What are we? What are we doing? Enhances cognitive flexibility and emotional regulation by allowing one to observe thoughts and feelings without attachment. So this is very important. Mindful meditation, which is what most yoga masters. Now let's come to relaxation techniques in self-counseling. It is integral to reducing physiological arousal and creating a mental environment conducive to self-reflection. All these relaxation techniques are all working on avoiding the physiological arousal or reducing the physiological arousal. You see something, whether it is phobia, whether it's anything, post-traumatic stress syndrome, all because of, you are getting physiological awareness or arousal, and then that creates body symptoms. So facilitate the down regulation of the autonomic nervous system, counteracting the physiological effects of chronic stress and anxiety. So this is important. The autonomic nervous system plays a huge role in acute as well. Acute is the one I said, post-traumatic stress disorder and all that. But chronic stress and anxiety can lead to even more problems. So core relaxation strategies are relaxation techniques serve both as preparatory tools for introspection. Very important word. Preparatory tools for introspection and standalone strategies to manage acute stress response. Two sides are there. One is preparatory tool for how you introspect. Second one, strategies to manage acute stress response. There are many methods. The most oldest and commonly used was progressive muscle relaxation. It involves sequentially tensing and releasing major muscle groups to increase bodily awareness and reduce tension. We all know that when you are under stress, the muscles, become stiff, muscle ache, you have everything. And some people call it, say, oh, I am tense, I have got chest pain. Some people say back pain. Lots of people have back pain. Nothing wrong in the spine. It is the muscle in the back is getting tense. So it enhances somatic mindfulness and can signal psychological readiness for deeper self-awareness. Okay, so that is important. Diaphragmatic breathing, known as deep breathing. It stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, thereby reducing cortisol levels and inducing calmness. So what does it mean? You have normal breathing is your diaphragm hardly takes much role. But in a deep breathing, diaphragm is the key actor. So that will reduce your cortisol levels, that will stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system and reduce cortisol levels and induce calmness. Then guided imagery utilizes mental visualization of calming scenes or positive outcomes. Why do we go out? You are relaxed, you are very tense and all that. You want to go out, go to the garden, go to the beach, go to the sea. What is happening is actually you are getting calming scenes. But you cannot keep going like that every time. So you can visualize those scenes, the scenes that you enjoy, and that gives you positive outcome. It will support emotional regulation, effective in mitigating anticipatory anxiety. Guided imagery support emotional regulation. That's important. Now, second one was free association. It's actually come from psychoanalytic traditions. It's a technique in which individuals articulate their thoughts freely without censorship or logical structuring. You don't care who is around you. You don't care what is it, what not. Whatever comes to you, your thoughts that come to your mind, you articulate. Naturally, there will be some social restrictions will be there. You can't do it everywhere, but somehow wherever possible, you try to articulate your thoughts without censorship or logical structuring. This spontaneous expression can be verbal or written and serve to access unconscious material that may be influencing current emotional states or behavior. I give you a simple example. If you think of when you look at your principal, teachers are all very stuffed-down persons. But have you ever seen them when they are among their friends and all? Then they are worse than the students. You get the point. So that is where only place where they can be free and you can spontaneously express your feelings. That is very important. The goal is not immediate problem solving, but rather uncovering of latent content. That is your own inner conflicts, fears, and desires that may inform future self-guided interventions. If you want to do future self-guided interventions, you need to be aware of what is happening in your mind. It could be your conflicts, your fears, and desires. Okay. Now, what are the applications in self-counseling? One is easiest that is called journaling. Journaling means writing continuously and unfiltered for a predetermined period. Allows the emergence of underlying themes, repressed emotions, and cognitive distortions. So most good writers, actually they don't write from other people. They get stimulation from events that are happening around them. But ultimately when they write the story, the poem or anything, it is their inner thoughts that come. Okay. So journaling is you write down every day, keeping a diary, you write down whatever comes to your mind. Of course, you don't have to show it outside. You keep it yourself private so that negative things will not go out and somebody may not misuse it. But you must do journaling. Verbal stream of consciousness. That means speaking thoughts aloud in a private setting can yield similar benefit, particularly for individuals who they have processed problems effectively through auditory expression. I give you a simple example. Have you seen in films? Somebody is so stressed, I cannot tell anybody, I am in trouble. What they do, they go out into an open space, scream about what it is. They cannot keep the secret to themselves. So they may scream, they may talk about it. Okay. So that gives them like, oh, I'm relaxed. After screaming, whatever thoughts was filled in your mind, you become better. You must give these opportunities for children. That's why we go for outing, we have picnic, we have all that where you don't have to be behaving perfectly as always. Then the autogenic training is derived from Greek roots meaning originating within oneself. It's a self-regulation technique that uses verbal cues and guided visualization to elicit a deep relaxation response, which means it comes from within. It's a guided visualization. You are visualizing what you want. Previously, we talked about just think of anything that comes to your mind, take it. Here, it is not just anything. It is actually what is you guide it. You guide what you want to visualize. Naturally, you will think of pleasurable things. You will think of pleasant events. It is centered on the principle that the mind can influence physiological processes through focused, self-directed effort. If I start seeing some event which was actually not good as good, and a simple example, I'll say something goes wrong for me. Naturally, I start smiling inside. Why? Because I know that something better is going to come to me. That's not a state 40 years ago. I used to sit and cry even. Why this is happening to me? But now I don't do that because I know something better is going to come. So it is on the principle that your physiological responses can be controlled by focused, self-directed effort. And essence of autonomic training lies in consciously commanding the body to respond. So we can consciously command our body to respond in a certain way, the physiological responses. Now then the most practical one is now very popular is brain gym. I'm not going to go into detail because there's a whole lot of things. Basically this is derived actually from our yoga technique. Okay? It is based on how the brain and body work together and uses easy body movements to help improve learning, focus, memory and emotional balance. But somebody who sees it for the first time may feel, what is there? What is there in this? What's so great about it? No. You do it every day, then you see how it works for you. What movements we do are very simple things. But do it every day and focus on it, concentrate on it. Suddenly you realize that your morning, if you do this for 5 minutes, you become much better. In a conference, in between long talk, if you spend 2 minutes or 3 minutes for one item, it actually relaxes the participants. It helps both sides of the brain work better as a team. That's the most important part. Both sides of the brain should work as a team, helping to improve your thinking, reduce stress, better concentration, bring calmness and overall brain function. Okay, so the fundamental principle of brain gym is both sides of the brain should work together, and only if both sides work together, then you can have calmness, you can reduce stress, you can concentrate better, all this can happen. So brain gym is effective. It's a modern version, saleable version of our older yoga. Now then just one word about spiritual psychology. It is concerned with the health of the individual soul, and this soul-centered approach believes that when love is applied to earth, we heal. Unless you practice, it's very difficult to believe this. But you know that even a tough person who doesn't believe in God, spiritual doesn't mean God or anything. You don't have to be religious to become spiritual. Spiritual is all that good things that you attribute to God. So what practically applied, it helps a person become awareness of a recent upset. He become aware of it, write the emotion back in time to its core. The word core is very important. What was the core problem? You go back into it, communicate with that fixated portion and apply love to it. What does it mean? Apply love to it means you have a very hurting event. You are going into core event of that. You identified what was the problem, what made you upset, what is the core event, what is the core action, that happened. But you apply love to it. You forgive. Forgive, even if you don't forget. Even forgiving is a huge process of this thing. All religions say that if you have a problem, you learn to forgive. You may not completely forget it. It may be still in your heart, let it be there. But doesn't matter, but it should not come out in your daily activities. Now, what is the practical use of all this? I have practiced self-counseling not only for me. Actually, I started practicing it long ago when I started building the Child Development Center with all the problems. From 1 lakh rupees, now it is nearly 100 crore worth. So when I started, there was so much of problem. I can't tell anybody. They'll say, what is this fellow talking about his problem? So one method I did was spirituality. That was there for the last 45 years. The spirituality has guided me to work. But even in spirituality, to make it, just by praying, it will not help. You have to convert that praying element or your personality change into a practical approach. So let's take a practical example of what all of you are facing every day. You have to give a diagnosis of ASD, autism spectrum disorder in a child, mother. Is a child, so we have to give the diagnosis of mother. What happens to a mother of an autism child? It is a mother who alone have to face the music. Let us admit that. Everybody else will be supporting. Say they are supporting, but actually they are blaming her for most things. Very rarely that you get complete support to family. So her whole dream about her child come to a standstill. When I say her, it could be the father. Nowadays there are lots of fathers who are very bothered about it. So I cannot blame the male gender. But still, in the Indian context, it's a mother who has, father has to go out for work. So he get out of the house most of the time. So naturally the mother who has to do it. She doesn't know how to handle the erratic behavior of the child. Everybody give advice, but nobody give a definitive advice. How to face unwanted criticism of people around. You did that, you didn't do that, you did ate that in the pregnancy. All sort of, criticism. Worried about the future of the child. Okay? And what happens? You have problem with your husband because you are emotionally almost become cold. I'm not bringing the old concept of cold mother. No, that's not what I'm saying. When it comes to a problem, the mother, whole 24 hours she has to see the baby. She cannot focus on the normal husband-wife relations. So that affect the man a lot. And the family relationship affect. So there's a simple thing called partner assessment scale to matter for doing 7 items only. With lack of time, I'm not going into it. So we do that and tell them in which area you have problems so that we can counsel on them. So ultimately, all this means we can help parents to work with emotional problems and master the art of self-healing. Self-healing. After some time, you start talking the same way your counselors started talking. That's at least you reach about 80%, you're almost good. You're there. 50% is even good. You try to understand what you're doing. Now, the last slide, of course, is self-counseling. What is the basis of self-counseling? How did I come to all this? It's because of 10 commandments. What are the commandments? Number 1 is do not bluff to yourself. You may have to bluff to others. Whatever you say, you cannot be 100% truthful. Sometimes you may have to bluff to others, but never bluff to yourself. If you did something wrong, accept that I have done wrong, and in what circumstance I have done, I believe I will not do it alone, but you must accept that something wrong I have done. You are not God, so likely to make precaution. Okay? You are not God. You are not Jesus or Sri Ram. So what happens? You cannot show the other side of the, somebody be doing this, you can't do the other side. That's not possible all the time. So what happens? You better take precaution. Everything you take precaution. Before doing something, just think what can go wrong, what can be good. And if something go wrong, likely to go wrong, then don't do that. Don't think others have to like you always. The problem with the present generation is they need all sort of approval from the social media. Forget it. You get your self-love. You start loving yourself and you go for your persons who believe in, your own children. I just saw a recent Malayalam movie in which YouTuber who has some billions of, followers, but she actually got into trouble. It was only her family which was supporting her. And the person who, that was a very good sense. That's the time she realized, she says, what do I need you all? I have the whole billions of people around who like me. No, nobody like you. It is just thinking only. Just thinking for you is not liking. Caring, not love. This is for young people particularly. If you don't have to say, married people. You didn't say, last 1 month he has not told me I didn't love you for that. You don't have to keep on saying. Actually, human relations, you can find whether he's loving you or not. But much more important for young people is, he doesn't have to say or she doesn't have to say, I love you. But you are in little problem. Does he perceive your problem or does she perceive your problem? Act accordingly. In a marital situation also same thing. You don't say every day, good morning, I love you, love you, love you. No, nothing. This is all nonsense. It's not our culture. Our culture basically says when she is in trouble, you perceive it. No, she doesn't have to tell you her needs, her problems. You perceive it and act accordingly. Okay, you wish if he had come today, I'm not in a good mood, wish if he had come early today. And you come early, then she's the most happy person. Don't think, refuse to take insult. If somebody insult me, I never take insult. When I don't refuse to take insult, how can you insult me? You can't insult. Okay? That is something we have to be very firm with children. You have to tell them that, be firm. Nobody can insult you. I refuse to take insult. What is the problem? Don't think others are lesser than you. Okay? That's one thing. We are all trying to find your position there. Okay? So, if you think others are lesser than you, there are a lot of people above you, a lot of people below you. So, this cycle will go on like that. Okay, got a point? What normally happens is you evaluate yourself, you evaluate others and see whether you are above or below. That is where the problem starts. Okay? Insult. Somebody insult you, what will you do? Everybody will feel bad. But that should be only for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, you think whether did I say something wrong or did I do something wrong? If yes, then at least in the mind you say sorry. If not, say go to hell, I don't care. Okay, you go into a cognitive pathway quickly. Think of other person's point of view. Try to be a third party in every event. Between two friends are fighting. You don't keep on saying that what I have done to you, what I have done to you, I have done so much for you. No. Just for a moment think and say what he has done to me or she has done for me. Third party means without any bias, judgmental thoughts. Do not hurt someone if possible. Do not hurt yourself ever. The present day girls get into trouble because they are worried that, but if I don't agree to this, agree to that, he will get hurt and all. It's not your botheration. If not for this, he will get hurt for something else. That's not your botheration. Your botheration is you cannot be hurt. Somebody cannot cheat you. In very simple terms, I tell you, 1 second before you sign on the marriage register, you are not married. 1 second after that, you are married. And the importance is that suppose I'm putting it very crude. Suppose he is owning so many crores and all that. 1 second before marriage, you won't get it. But 1 second after that, Whatever happened, you will get it. What does it mean? Marriage is a sanctified legal document. So that we should do. So before that, even if somebody forces you to do it, persuade you to do it, say after all we are going to get married. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much, but let's wait for the marriage. Last one is, I am the custodian of my mind, body, and spirit. I will protect, preserve, and enhance it. You are responsible for your mind. You are responsible for your body and the spirit. Mind means you don't give your affection to any Tom, Dick, and Harry on the road. You don't give your body for anybody. Don't let people run over your body. And the spirit means you have a way of thinking. You have a right to believe in certain things, spiritual or non-spiritual. So long as you don't hurt somebody else, then that is the most important. The last slide, and that is the article on self-counseling. And I think Pediatric Companion, I urge you to read this. It may be good.